election says it's received more than 21,000 ballots ahead of the March 17th primary election in Chicago. More than 2,000 early voting ballots have been cast so far. The Board of Elections has also received more than 19,000 mail-in ballots.
That's a report from CBS News Chicago about that early voting. We know about it in the state of Illinois. Like I said, the Lord flooded the earth in 40 days, and that's how long it takes for early voting in the state of Illinois. But today is the day. This is the end of the Illinois primary. You got to get to the polls if you're an Illinois voter before 7 p.m. tonight to have your primary ballot cast. I implore you to show up and have your voice be heard. You know, I'm working hard here in Southern Illinois to bring awareness to these issues that are taking place in Illinois. You all know about Chicago Flips Red, and they join us right now. They are working hard in Chicago. Even the thought of flipping red in Chicago just warms my heart, and we welcome some of the amazing ladies, Zoe Leigh, Danielle Carter, and Jessica Jackson of Chicago Flips Red. Thank you so much for being with us here today on Illinois Primary Day. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having us.
So let me talk to you first. Zoe, we'll start with you. You created Chicago Flips Red. How did you come to a place where you were like, this needs a name, this movement needs to be something that people are going to know about, hear about, not just across the state of Illinois, but nationally?
The city of Chicago lawfully demolished my family's building, which is my generational wealth. And I decided to protest and, everything that we've learned growing up, and I did all those things. And then once I started going inside, asking for help, and I realized how terrible the Democratic Party was in DC in Chicago, and I wasn't going to get any help. I decided that we were going to flip it red because this was the worst customer service I've ever had in my life.
That I've never heard Chicago politics that way. That's great. Okay, so let's talk about, obviously it sounds like you had a confrontation or a conflict with the Democrat Party, and you realize these people aren't really there to serve your needs, certainly not ours downstate as well. Danielle, you're the VP of Chicago Flips Red. It's one thing to say, no, Democrat Party, you need to shape up and do a better job. It's another thing to go say, we're going to give the other guys a chance. What kind of success has Chicago Flips Red had in this moment leading up to primary day today and then hopefully November in the general?
Well, we have a lot of success. We have the quiet majority. Because this city is so retaliatory and vindictive, you have people who own businesses, you have people who work here, and they're scared to come out and speak up. They're scared to say they're Republicans or conservatives, because if you're a business owner, you know that they will retaliate against you. So people are not going to argue. They're not going to announce it. But we get so many emails and so many messages saying thank you. I'm talking about the people who used to hate me. People I know in Chicago who used to hate me. Now they're saying, I see what's going on. Can you come? Can Chicago Flips Red come and help me? Because illegal aliens have taken over my apartment building. And when I call the police, I can't get any help. They can't arrest them. They are allowed to sell drugs, to prostitute, and to do the things that we could not even fathom doing. So when that's happening, we get so many email and messages. And I just want to say, so the silent majority is here. Yeah. Okay. So please, you all listen. I need Republicans and things like that to know that Chicago and Illinois will flip red.
Oh, man, I got goosebumps, Danielle. I love the way you talk right now. Jessica Jackson also with us, an advisor to Chicago Flips Red. What kind of effort, what kind of reaction do you get? You guys show up at press conferences. You ask questions of the leaders who are abdicating their responsibilities to the people in Chicago who are Democrats, independents, and Republicans alike. When Chicago Flips Red is in the House, do people take note?
Always. We always change the temperature of the room. And that's what we intend to do. We intend to upset the apple cart. We intend to draw attention. We intend to bring about awareness. We intend to be transformative of the political mind here in Chicago. So when we come into the room, we always get the eye and attention of the people because it's something different and it's something needed.
Yeah, I love to hear that because you've put action behind frustration and complaint. I know there's a lot of complacency downstate that I'm trying to rattle out of people to say, remember, like if we're going to complain all the other years, we got to show up and show out when the primary election is happening, when the general election is happening. If you want to have hope for this place that we call home, you've got to be an active participant, not just a complainer. What are the issues? You've mentioned a few of those, Danielle. Zoe, I'll ask you to contribute as well. What are the main issues that you see as key factors in maybe getting some Chicagoans to consider the alternative in this election and the one in November? What really translates?
I think the ballot for the primary. I think that we have the majority to flip to help downstate and central. For primary is, so for instance, we cannot stand Tony Delaney Presley. We can't stand her. However, there's no Republican running against her. Yeah. But there is a Democrat that, I don't want to vote for Brendan Riley either, but for 4 years, I watched Brendan Riley vote. I watched him, he's not for illegal immigration. He's an accountant. So he understood the budget. He's only one of the aldermen that stood up for the budget. So he's running against Tony Preckwinkle. If I was able to vote for him and then still vote for Ted Dabrowski and Jeannie Evans and all those other people, I felt I would feel confident. I wrote him in, it made out, I did write him in, but I think that they do that on purpose because there are a lot of people that are willing to say, okay, I'll vote for these people. Okay, I'll give these people a try because a lot of people are tired of Pritzker. However, we got to get Tony Preckwinkle out. And you cannot, you're making us pick and choose. So I see that as the issue because I saw it this morning when they tried to cheat with my ballot. They wouldn't even scan my ballot on the South Side. And they do it on purpose because they love to keep that narrative that we want to continue to vote blue. We just need somebody to come in there and educate us and let us know why we're voting this way, the policies. Ted Dabrowski, wire points, he breaks down everything that why a Black Chicagoan should not vote blue this time, just off of the unemployment rate, poverty, our schools. We're always going to be dependent on the welfare because they will not make sure that the money that's supposed to be allocated to our communities are stolen from our own elected officials. And it's going to continue to be like that if we do not change the voting. But look how they suppress the vote with primary. Mm-hmm. You're telling me I only can vote. I'm Tony Preckwinkle. I got to get you out of here, but I got to vote blue for this. But I'm the Republican, so I have to choose this Republican ballot, and she still has a chance to still get in there. That's not fair.
Yeah. Oh, man. We're listening to the brain trust of Chicago Flips Red right now. And Danielle, you mentioned in your first statement with me about the illegal immigrants and how they've moved into some of the communities in Chicago. It really does feel like the leadership, which is super majority of Democrats in the General Assembly in the state of Illinois, and then, of course, J.B. Pritzker, he's poured a lot of attention, but, of course, a lot of resources into making a sanctuary state, the destination state, for people who have come here illegally. Do Chicagoans, is that a primary issue for Chicagoans voting right now? The amount of investment and a priority that has been given to the illegal immigrant community within Cook County?
Yes, it is. And what we are trying to do, because we talked about this years ago, what we are doing is making sure, because we are combating the fake news, and that's who we're going against, and they're lying to the people. And so what we've been doing is showing and letting people know, look at your community. Look at what's happening. Remember, they took our resources, functional field houses, schools that they closed down, and they housed them and they gave them everything. Now they are living off our tax dollars in the apartment buildings that we can't even rent now because they're renting to illegal aliens because the city is paying for them, the state. So we're making sure that we have our people to think about and associate these things. We don't have a housing shortage. No, we have too many people that was allowed to flood into our communities and take over. Now think about the high property taxes that we just received.
Yeah.
Think about the residents that's on a fixed income. They're going to lose their homes to property taxes. And then what's happening? What do we see? We see illegal aliens that have been allowed to get home loans.
Yeah.
And business loans, because I just did a video and I'm getting ready to put it out in Inglewood that was predominantly Black. Now illegal aliens have moved in. You see all the buildings that were abandoned. Now they're fixing on them. And they're running with their dogs. And now you see a Venezuelan restaurant pop up, a brick and mortar. Well, I warned about this a couple of years ago because I bought a business and they put me through everything far as the high tax assessments, and then all the permits and everything, all the red tape I had to go through. The tip money, they rezoned me out. So they made it so hard for Americans to become business owners, but look what they're allowing for illegal aliens. They only been here, a year or two? How is it that I have to have a 10-year, you got to make sure your credit good. You have to have a bank account. You have to make sure you don't have no bankruptcy on your credit. All of these things I have to go through. And then these people come over here, 2 years, maybe a year, and then they can get a brick and mortar business, a home and things. So yes, these are the things we are educating our people on, and they can go right out their house and see what's happening.
Yeah, I've got a question for all three of you ladies. You can field this however you want, but you're talking about Chicago flipping red. Zoe, you kind of reacted to this as well. Did you guys flip red? Was there a moment in your time where you're like, I kind of like, oh my gosh, this vote blue no matter who mentality? Was that your mentality at one time, and you flipped your thinking over to, I'm gonna give the Republicans a shot?
Well, I've never ever participated in elections. I've never was interested in elections. I'm an entrepreneur, doing my own thing. I want to be a comedian. I want to write for Saturday Night Live. I got into this when the city knocked down my family's building. I was protesting outside. If it wasn't for Miss Jessica, me and Miss Jessica, we founded Chicago Flips Red together because of the frustration of what I met her. Miss Jessica, you break yours down.
Yeah.
But basically, they're stealing property. They're stealing our property in our community. They're pushing us out. You can't get any mainstream media. You can't get any help. I was living in Georgia at the time when they stole the election. So when they stole the election, and I lived in Atlanta, I told Brandon Johnson, I said, if you do not settle my family's case, I said, I will flip Chicago red like they did Georgia. And I was adamant about that. And I was building on it. So while I didn't know we were going viral. I didn't know that we were all over YouTube, all of that. All I knew was that I done went to the federal level, I done went to the state level, I done went to the city level, I done went to the Cook County level. They're all blue.
Yep.
I can't get any help. So we have to go with Donald Trump. We have to.
Yeah.
And I've been so big, but I'm a proud Republican. I'm a proud conservative. I independently align myself with the Republican Party. This was my first time. I was 37 at the time. I'm 40 now. I never took politics seriously, but after watching them launder our money the whole time, watched them spend all this money on illegal aliens, watch them ignore me and Miss Jessica. Miss Jessica don't curse. Miss Jessica don't get out her body. Now me, now they pressed me down there a few times and stuff like that. So once I saw the disrespect of just how they just don't care about us and our own people, and they keep blaming it on racism and everything down there. Like, nah, this is y'all. This is Trump. This is not Trump. Trump don't have nothing to do with this. So it was just delusion, and then nobody was countering them. So I feel like I'm the best troll that y'all got. To really, I'm the best op that y'all have because y'all not gonna lie. Economically, it makes no sense. I was born in '86, so I understand white people just like I understand us. So we're not going to continue to just say that it's just racism, racism. Is racism here? Yes, but it's also a case by case study because a lot of this is just I can't say the word, but it's just terrible. Corruption.
Yes, we'll take it. We took calls earlier on the show because our YouTube poll today is, can J.B. Pritzker be beaten in November? And we realized we might not have enough dump button opportunities for our callers to call in. We're going to talk about J.B. Pritzker. The FCC going to have a little problem with us. Last question, I want to give it to Jessica because, Zoe, you were kind of talking about how you co-founded this with Jessica. What do you want? I mean, Southern Illinois and Cook County, very different places, but we have so many things in common. We have so many similar frustrations with the way we're governed. We kind of just want to be let to live and prosper and have success in the state of Illinois. So I think that Chicago Flips Red and our audience here in southwestern Illinois, I mean, you guys are wearing, I see a red Save America hat, a red Chicago Bulls hat. We love the red White Sox hat. I see no Cubs hats, so the St. Louis Cardinals hats, those are red too. I think there's a lot we can do.
Yeah,
there you go.
This is save Illinois hat.
Yeah, we'll take it. What do you need from us?
Yes.
Talk to us about how we partner together, Chicago Flips Red and Downstate, to actually, as Danielle's hat says, save Illinois.
Well, you have to look at the reality of what's going on. And the reality is Chicago is the biggest city in Illinois. Chicago runs Illinois. So you have to look at the reality of finding a common thread. The common thread between downstate Illinois and Chicago. And the common thread is that we're tired of being overtaxed. The common thread is that we're tired of businesses being ran out of Illinois and the city of Chicago. The common thread is that we do not want a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state. A common thread is we do not want our schools to continue to keep on being depleted with resources and all the sexual perversion to be taught to our children as opposed to them being academically astute. The common thread is that we believe that Chicago Teachers Union should not have the level of contribution to public policy and to this government that they have. There are a lot of common threads between downstate and Chicago, and we're hoping that the residents of Chicago will understand why they need to do things differently. They have to vote differently. And we're hoping that downstate understands that if they want the power of Illinois, if they want the power of those seats, they got to come through Chicago. There is no other way.
Yeah.
And the Republican Party downstate has made a grave mistake by thinking that they can. And what has been revealed in this election cycle is that downstate really believes that they could have success without Chicago. And they can't. So my hope is that now in the primaries and as we move forward, that we can come together because they have tried to separate downstate Illinois from Chicago and it hasn't been successful. I lived in California for a number of years before I came back to see about my mother's estate, like what Zoe described, because I was fighting for my mother's estate through probate, which is another way that they're stealing our property, through the probate process. One thing that we have in common is that Governor Pritzker appoints the public administrators. And these public administrators, like Louis G. Apostle, for example, Leah Jubakowski, Tina Lestropoulos, all those are public administrators, and all of them are participating in stealing real estate. The common thread is if J.B. Pritzker is turning his head to that, and if he's appointing those type of public administrators for Chicago, he's appointing the same type of leadership to attack property in Southern Illinois
Yeah.
because he is the governor of Illinois. So we're hoping that the common thread will be that you come together, Southern Illinois and Chicago, because just like California wanted to separate Southern California from Northern California because they had very different political views, but it never happened because Los Angeles has such the weight there, you know? And so it's the same thing here in Illinois. Chicago has the weight. So we welcome Illinois, Southern Illinois, we welcome the common thread and we see how we can be victorious in this. But Southern Illinois has to accept the fact that Chicago runs Illinois.
Oh, they've had no choice but to accept that fact. That is certain. And I've said many times with the separation of Cook County from the downstaters that we would be so much stronger together. In fact, I think we would be unstoppable together from a nation competitive way.
But I think we are. We have a downstate supporters. Now, GOP, I don't know what's going on with them, but the actual supporters,
those people listening right now,
yes, they love us.
They do.
And I know that it's all hands on deck. We have to be lots.
Yeah.
If you guys have not voted yet downstate or you're waiting, I know a lot of downstate people are asking, well, who are you guys voting for governor? Ted Dabrowski. Ted Dabrowski. So it's Ted Dabrowski for us and Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senator Diane Harris, Diane Harris, Comptroller Brian Drew, so, we hoping, Chris, well, this is first district. Chris Action. So we're holding y'all down. You understand? We're holding y'all down. We need you to do the same thing because Ted Dabrowski can win. Jeannie Evans can win. And these are all new people. Brian Drew, new. Diane Harris. We need all new leadership. And it starts with downstate locking arms with us.
Yeah.
And let's go. Let's win these primaries and let these people know too big to rig or we going to the feds.
I just to wrap this up, what you were saying, Jessica. It's so important for people listening right now that are frustrated and disenchanted with the process. What they need to see and what they're seeing right now, and we've been seeing it from you folks, before the primary season was here. You guys are engaged, and the fire that breathes into Southern Illinois. We've been begging for the opportunity to see somebody show up and do what you guys are doing in Chicago, and you've been doing it. This is not something that just spawned out of the last couple weeks or months. You guys have been working your tails off, and it's inspiring to us folks down, and we're gonna show up. We're gonna vote. We're gonna win the turnout because if J.B. Pritzker is on the ballot, the question is going to be, do you want more of that? And then we just need to have that alternative. I'm a Ted Dabrowski person myself as well, and we'll find out after tonight who we got to run against.
And I just want to ask people, just ask yourself, the people that's running and telling you to vote for them, majority of them are in office now. Everything they're running on, they're in office now. Why haven't they done this?
Yeah. Or maybe this is what they want. maybe they've succeeded and it just looks like a disaster to us.
Right. Because they run on lower property taxes, lower crime. You're right. They run on these things, but somehow when they get in office, it gets worse. So if they were going to do it, why haven't they done it? We don't promote failure. We don't. It's over for them. So we are not asking for anything. We are taking these seats back. We're taking our city and state back from these crooks because we don't see them. Every 4 years they come around. We don't see them. And then they come around every 4 years, shake our hands, give us turkeys and a dinner. And that's what they think. That's all they have to do. No, it's over for them.
Yes, it is time to get out and vote. Today's the primary, and you ladies are inspiring. Thank you for the time today. We're going to have a lot more work to do for the rest of this year. You guys, please come back and let us know how it's going with Chicago Flips Red.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you
guys.
for having us.
Keep
God bless you.
God bless you as well. Fight the good fight. That was Chicago Flips Red. Wonderful, wonderful ladies there. Zoe Leigh, the founder, the VP, Danielle Carter, and Jessica Jackson, advisor to Chicago Flips Red. A long segment there, but I loved it. Injected into my veins.